Welcome into the Overwatch League studios here in Los Angeles. This is the Watchpoint Reset. I am Zoe Schwind, and joining me on the desk once again are Sideshow and also Hex. Guys, we were a little bit worried after the first half. Justice did have a really strong start, but then New York brought it back and cleaned it up in a very convincing fashion. Now, if we had to point fingers, who really stood out?
Yes,
let's point fingers.
Let's not give praise. Let's point fingers.
No, I wanted to point fingers on like who really stepped it up from New York to turn it around.
Nice.
I
nice switch.
swear that's exactly where I wanted to go.
And then you said you wanted to point fingers. Do you agree with the casters that Nene was the big...
I think Nene, obviously, his style was really cool. Matt pointed out the big brain play at the end of getting the translocator that we saw, too. We're like, oh, is he going to duel this Winston in there when there's any help? He's like, oh, that's what he did. Stratus dies immediately after. Who do I want to blame for that kind of assault being a weird and boring match? Kind of Stratus, just holding on to EMP the whole time. Forces Animo to hold on to Sound Barrier the whole time, and nothing happens for about 5 minutes. But I thought Nene's Tracer was exceptional. The 76. I love this flank. I don't think this is a flank that you run if you have Sabiobi in. Like, Nene, I feel like, is making calls of, like, being a little more the aggro version of the NYXL.
Yeah, and I like that, because previously, when we've seen Sabiobi out of the NYXL lineup, they've looked a little lost. They've looked sometimes like they don't really have vision. Well, that wasn't the case in the second half of this match. They almost looked like they had more vision. That sleep dart, though, is ridiculous. Jornang just showing what he's capable of, even though it's 2 years after his debut.
Yeah, it was just, this assault was so strange because it was a cat and mouse of like, we need to use an ult so that Stratus uses EMP, and then none of that happened for about 3 minutes straight, and it was just holding on to ults, nothing really happening.
It kind of turned into 3D chess in a really awkward way.
Yeah, but not as interesting.
Fair.
I mean, it was just like, nothing ever happened. New York went in, they would use an ult, and then Washington would not react to it, and then they would rinse and repeat.
Do you think if you're looking at New York's performance, because they dropped that first map, is there anything they need to worry about moving forward with the hero pools in place?
I don't really think so. I think this is the kind of performance that you can expect when a top team goes up against a middle-of-the-pack towards bottom-level team, which is what Washington seem to be at the moment. And that is that it's not going to be clean. You haven't had that long to be able to practice whatever you're going to play when it comes to hero pools. So even the wins are unlikely to be absolutely resounding. What you're hoping for if you're in New York is to have the flexibility and the skill to be able to stay just a little bit ahead of everybody else. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be Houston that suddenly comes out and is just dominating Paris. But that's fine, as long as you've got enough to just stay ahead of the pack. That's what's going to get you the wins overall.
There's no holes in this NYXL roster when it comes to hero pools. You think of their tank line, they can play whatever you want. The support line can switch over to an Ana and a Zen, and then you've got Lucia, whatever you need to play. And the 4 DPS they have on this squad fill out every role you could possibly imagine. So I don't see them struggling at all in hero pools.
Well, that's great. That really bodes well for they themselves and, of course, all the fans. No apparent cracks in the New York Excelsior armor as of right now. Up next, however, we do have our last match of the day. It's going to be Boston Uprising taking on the Atlanta Reign. So let's take a quick look at the starting lineup, starting with the Boston Uprising first. They were struggling yesterday. Halo had his debut match, not really saying that he particularly struggled more than anyone else did. Looking at the roster here, would you have liked to see some changes at all?
I don't really think this team can make changes. They literally don't have another DPS player. Axiom coming in would have been a little bit interesting, I suppose, but he hasn't. I mean, he's been fielded a bit in 2020, but they got kind of brutalized yesterday. They went up early.
What a great turn.
Yeah, and then they got bullied. The Washington Justice kind of slowly got more and more into the game, and Corey came online, and the Boston Uprising were playing a bunker style, but not playing the Torb too much of the time, so it's difficult to really repel the dive. Because Jerry, when he plays the Hanzo, even if he plays like, I don't know, like a Tracer or a Soldier, or whatever you want to put alongside that, it's a little more diveable than a Torb, which is big and bulky and can kind of repel it. It's the McCree replacement, but it also has lovely molten goo.
Okay, that's a phrase I was not expecting here. I'm going to speed on past that one here. I think the hero pools really hurt this squad. I think Fusion's Reinhardt is way better than his other tank plays, and when you can't play Reinhardt, I think Jerry had moments on the McCree, looked really good there, but now you can't play either of them, and as you mentioned, you point out, his team just doesn't have the depth.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make changes when you don't have the squad to make changes, and so they just have to roll with it and pray that they get a little bit better on it, because it's not looked great.
Yeah. I mean, there might also, there is a part of luck involved, I guess, that the heroes being drawn for your very week of play might maybe favor your particular play style or the hero pool of your individual players a little bit more. So I guess that can come into play as well.
That can definitely come into play, but I think the problem with Boston as well is that they just don't have enough depth to be able to cover most of the things that hero pools is going to throw at them. Like Color Hex, for example, they need to find a hero that he can flourish on, because the Mei, it just doesn't have a large enough impact in the meta at the moment for him to be able to carry, and he should be the carry for this team.
Well, you know what? It is time to take a look at their opponent's roster. Their starting 6, of course, we're talking about the Atlanta Reign. We haven't seen them excelling, playing at all yet with the hero pools in place. So the Beast.
The Beast, the spectacled Beast.
We're talking Edison, in case that wasn't apparent from.
Is he the only one? Oh no, Dogman's wearing spectacles.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well. And he's actually named after an animal, so it would make much more sense to call him the Beast. You're misleading the people here, Joshua.
Well, Dogman has already been released. You know, he's been off the chain for a while. But Edison is so hype. I am looking forward to this lineup so much. And I had high hopes for Atlanta. You know, they ended up performing very well in one of their matches and then flopping in the next when they went toe-to-toe with Paris in the previous meta. And I think that this lineup of Ursta being able to play honestly anything, but the Tracer is very good, and then Edison being able to play the Sombra, this should be insanely good for Atlanta.
You have to imagine that they've seen really good results for when a guy who's like taking your job, you're hyping him up on Twitter, right? Oh, yeah. Like Baby Bay like wants to see Edison play as well, and essentially it's Baby Bay's job, although I think he could be the mascot for this team. As they
and also the
forward.
Torb specialist.
Yeah,
just
sure.
Just hitting people with hammers.
But the thing is, though, even if it were Baby Bay still in, I don't think that would really harm the team necessarily either. I do think they still look strong. He's a decent player, yeah, right. Yeah. That's it.
He's a decent player. But the thing is, like, Baby Bay plays the niche picks, but when you're looking for raw power and versatility and the ability to make your jaw drop, that's when you put the double E combo, the Ursta and Edison. This is just footage from him when he was playing in Korean Contenders, because...
Well, we still have to see him in action in the Overwatch League.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that is still a very different kind of scenario. We did have a lot of players who popped off in Contenders or wherever, and then coming into the Overwatch League, very different kind of scenario. So let's hope for the best for Edison, I guess.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to him.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to see, you haven't done anything until you do it now, in my opinion. You're going to have all the hype and all the run-up to you get drafted high, you could be a free agent, but we've seen some guys kind of flop, but then we've seen guys like Xe and other rookies come in too, so, you know, flip a coin, really. Is he going to be a boom or a bust?
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League, and by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
A lot of culture here in DC, and the night still with a few surprises. It might be winding down, but we still have one more great match to go. I'm ZP here with Jake, and heading up next, it's the Uprising taking on the Reign.
It's great to be here in our nation's capital, and we've had great Overwatch so far today. That match to start the day, Paris versus Fusion. What an insane stunner as well. Justice putting up a great fight against a very dominant New York Excelsior squad. You've got to give them props for that. I mean, New York had a moment of weakness against Philly earlier, but since then they've been just clean and dominant, looking like they want to make a championship appearance this season.
Yeah, New York, never a team you can write off. A team that has always put on great regular season performances here in the Overwatch League. And what we're seeing from New York, more of the same, where they're mixing it up. They're really using their versatility. And you still got to give it to the Justice. They made it a good fight.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about these more stacked rosters going into hero pools. You know, it's hard to think of a roster more stacked than Atlanta in particular, especially in the DPS lineup. They've got that versatility on lockdown. So many players able to play really every sort of style that you could want out of this Atlanta squad.
Of course, moving forward to our final match of the day, of course, the first team to look at here is going to be the Boston Uprising, a team that has definitely been struggling a little bit, Jake, I'd say, looking for their footing, a team full of many rookies, new players to the league, and it's been a slow start.
Yeah, they definitely want to get some more wins. I mean, so far, their only win is that 7-match, I think, series up against Houston. And that was not the cleanest series. Of course, going to 7 maps pretty much by definition means not too clean of a victory. So Boston, they're trying to find their footing. Maybe hero pools will be just that for them.
Well, I mean, really for Boston, they have to hope that that's the case, right? Where all in all right now, it's definitely something where we've seen teams really go above and beyond where we've expected them to be in hero pools. I mean, just look at it, where Fusion losing today after Paris lost to the Outlaws. It's not really a chain of losses that you would have expected.
It's just that the pace of adaptation is now so much faster. You can't just be a team that discovers the strategy, executes it perfectly, and you just get, you know, incrementally better at that execution. You have to go from place to place, strategy to strategy, relying on your strengths, but also adapting to what the hero pools give you week to week. I think that's just going to make for a much more exciting Overwatch League season from a spectator perspective.
Well, Boston, they're looking for a little bit of redemption. Let's hear it for the Boston Uprising. Definitely some Boston fans out here in the arena. But plenty of people still around. Even as the Justice are done for the day, people still like their Overwatch.
Yeah, so the more local team here, slightly closer to Boston than we are to Atlanta. But I would say Boston, definitely the underdogs here, coming up against a very tough opponent. Atlanta having a rough match that last game, so they're going to be pretty angry, I think, coming back with some fire.
Yep, and you take a look at the roster. It is Jerry, of course, starting. Crowd favorite. All you got to say is Jerry. That's all it takes.
Yeah, definitely. A chant all in his own name. He's really been making a name for himself, but so far the team, it felt like they just haven't found their footing. They haven't found that coordination. For me, it's kind of this tank line for the Boston Uprising. It feels like their strategies, they've been cycling so fast. You know, you think that would be a strength for them, playing all these different strategies even at the start of the season, but it's just not coming together in any one of those strategies.
Also swapping back and forth between Fusions one day, Axiom the other. Boston right now, more than anything else, it's in search of answers.
Halo, though, coming into the squad, he could be a moment to turn things around. Yesterday, of course, they weren't able to get the win, but still, that's in front of a hometown crowd. That's in front of, you know, some very aggressive fans. Justice coming out strong, so maybe today's the day to turn things around and try and build some momentum against Atlanta.
See one of Boston's key heroes there, Young Bung. Definitely one of their biggest pickups, along with Jerry. Sort of the heart and soul of the team, but today they're up against some really tough opposition. It's the Atlanta Reign.
The Atlanta Reign looking so strong so far this season. Maybe a momentary hiccup in their last match, but you know, I want to talk about this tank duo in particular. For me, Gator and Hawk are showing that how important it is to be versatile on these roles. You know, to have the DPS lineup, you want your specialists, you bring them in for what they're good for. You bring in Edison for his particular speciality. You bring in Baby Bay for what, you know, his best heroes as well. But Gator and Hawk are players you don't have to sub in and out. They can play the whole roster. They can cycle to whatever strategy you need them to play, and they look so coordinated together.
Seeing how they play with Edison today, though, is definitely going to be the highlight. Edison, one of the most hyped up players coming into the season. I know there's many people on the edge of their seat, but perhaps the biggest person on the edge of their seat is Wolf. He's got to love this game.
Yeah, Wolf super excited, very big on Edison, a major buyer of his stonks. Erster as well by his side, so this is a high potential DPS duo, and I can't help but agree in this coaching decision for the team. You know, think about what the meta's been. It's been Somber Tracer, it's been Somber Soldier, Tracer Soldier. These are exactly the heroes that you want Edison and Erster on.
It's going to be interesting for sure. And just to kind of expand on Gator and Hawk as we're looking at him here, we're talking about a tank duo that has so much playtime together. A rarity, really, as you go up to the Overwatch League. Usually you get split from your partner, but no, those two, a lot of synergy pre-existing even before their first Overwatch League game.
And so far, it's proving a wise decision by Atlanta to pick up both these players together. They've looked so coordinated, executing together, as well as when Poco comes in, both of them able to adapt to that.
So Atlanta, still a team with a lot of hype behind them. Disappointing loss, of course, last week, but if anyone can rebound, it is them. But we're looking now at map number 1. It's gonna be our control map that we're heading into. Oasis once more, and just cast a little bit of this earlier today, Jake, in a crazy map 5.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to repeat that level of adrenaline as our first match stunner was. Although, so far, teams telegraphing something different compositions here. We'll see what actually is real. You know, teams known to do a little bit of trolling in the pre-match, although both teams looking like they're confident in this Orisa strategy. So a very different look than we saw in Paris versus Philly.
Taking a look right now, we got Erster, the Trace, swapping around. You know, we're not going to apply anything to this here just yet. Meanwhile, Uprising changing around. See what the teams are really on as the gates open.
Both teams with the sim, although I guess this is just a TP strat, get you out into the fight quicker. Both teams on this May Reaper strat, although Muffin on the Sigma should give a poke advantage, a little bit less mobile than Hawk on the D.Va though.
Edison right now moving forward, and immediately finding Muffin. Promise Sigma, you're not super mobile, couldn't really get away. And out of the rain already. One-man advantage. Edison working from the back, looking for the Immortality Field. They're going to take it down, and the rain being surgical right now as they dissect the Uprising.
Muffin just punished so brutally for that lack of mobility that I was just talking about, caught by the ice wall, and he has no escape from there. That's a simple mid for the Atlanta Reign, and I can't help but agree with the Atlanta Reign support choices here. I think the Lucio really offers a lot less value when you're already going to use the Sim TP out of spawn. How much does that speed boost actually help your team? Yeah, they get to the fight quicker, but then they're just ice walled in half.
So the Uprising gonna have to think about how to go in once more. Still sticking here with the Sigma. And the Rain just chill back for now as the Uprising. The ones have to make a move. Gonna force Edison back a little bit, but Edison has the nano. Goes for the teleport, a little bit of back and forth. Back into the fray. Colorhex already down. That was some nice movement there from Edison.
Yeah, Myeonbong, he does have the amplification matrix, but who's really using it in this squad? You've got a Reaper and a Mei, not really the best long-range spam characters to make use of that double damage. Sure, your Sigma and Orisa can shoot through it, but gosh, Edison, though, just charge again, wants even more pickoffs.
Edison, just easy cleanup right now, and I have to say, it's not, the Reign aren't doing anything tremendous at the moment. They're just applying pressure with this Reaper Mei composition. Where's Boston going wrong?
Overall, I just disagree with Boston's choices on this strategic picks. I think the Sigma is just too hard to make work here. Muffin, though, he's going to have his ultimate soon. The question is, who can he actually catch with this? So many heroes on the side of the Atlanta Reign have the ability to just solo escape from the Sigma using their shift abilities.
Muffin hanging out, has the Flux. Gonna have to be a good one. Looking for the Flux, sends him up to the air. Drops him on down, but the Reign, they just win the ground battle. The Flux nowhere near impactful enough, and the Uprising kind of falling with a whimper.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ult you're waiting on to turn the fight, and it just accomplishes nothing. Dogman and Masa coming up on a double support ult here. Atlanta Reign, they've got all the tools that they need and more. Colorhex is going to struggle to even get this Blizzard down with Hawk on the case.
Edison hanging out, has the Death Blossom. Could end this in a particularly flashy fashion. Has to go on a longer walk, goes for the teleport, and lucky to get away, but the Blizzard eaten! Hawk denying Colorhex. The nano on the Edison once more. Death Blossom into the back! Edison putting an end to this round.
Nano plus Bongo plus Death Blossom makes for a devastating AoE combo. Edison wiping the floor. Masa, I mean, you can't fault him for this. They're just styling on the bots in Uprising.
Didn't look hard, is what we just saw there. That was another day at the office for the Reign.
This just shows the importance of good strategy coming into the hero pool meta. You know, teams have to adapt. They have to figure out what's good. And the Atlanta Reign, I think, just making, frankly, better decisions there. I think the Brig Ana just offers a more effective support line to keep your Reaper and your Mei fighting. Sure, the Lucio helps on maps where there's a significant positional advantage to be obtained, but when you're already using the Sim TP to get out of spawn, the impact of that speed boost is far mitigated.
Of course, we're going to get a quick replay of what Edison just did. And you mentioned here, Jake, a lot going into it. You got the Nano, you got the Supercharger. Atlanta lives for these crazy combo plays, and not enough Matrix for movement, not in the right spot. Edison just in over the top.
Now Atlanta Reign moving into point, although interestingly enough, Boston Uprising changing it up significantly here. They're going to go with this Pharah Somber strategy, trying to poke away, and there's no range hit scan DPS for the side of the Atlanta Reign. You'd love to have a McCree here, but of course, showing the impact of hero pools, not available.
Reign right now on the ground. Erster over into the fray. Uprising looking for any opening here with the Pharah, so they do have a little bit of a poke advantage here. The Reign, though, going to be tough to displace from the point once they get solidified.
Definitely, this Pharah Mercy being constantly contested by Hawk. All the resources of healing coming into Hawk so he can constantly fly up into the air, but it feels like both teams giving up so much HP, and the Reign are really making the most of it with the additional healing from Ana.
Hawk getting sent to ground from the Sombra. Still, though, the Nano saves. Hawk is able to turn it, finding fusions. And Hawk, the aid of the Nano boost, able to make a big difference in the fight.
You know, I think a lot of people were speculating, will we see Pharah dominate the meta with two of her strongest hit scan counters taken out of the pool? And I think many of the more knowledgeable players and coaches in the league said, no, those are not the counters to Pharah. It's Diva. The Nano boost on Hawk just chops through the tanks, and because Hawk's constantly flying in this Pharah's face, he's constantly providing heals to Dogman and Masa, charging their ults up so quickly.
Yeah, you'd think it would be clear skies, but as I say, it just has not been the case. Color Hex, though, committed to the Pharah, just for now, with the barrage in tow. So he was able to make something happen. Young Bun holding in the back, perhaps looking for the Nano onto Color Hex. EP soon to be up. Jerry has built it. Boston taking a lot of time to move on in, but here comes Jerry. The EP ready. Drop TP, hits 3. Color Hex. Fall through going to be here. Erster already down. Waiting. Not using the barrage here just yet. Maybe they feel they don't have to use it. Erster and Hawk, though, essentially out of the fight. And Color Hex just looking for targets. Drops the barrage. Sometimes you got to get rid of Dogman.
No, I totally agree with that barrage decision there. It was not a one fight for sure for Boston. This gets them the clean flip. Fusions as well committing Primal. That might be a little bit more significant, as generally speaking, the only time you're going to cast Barrage in this sort of composition is when your Somber casts EMP. Usually there's just no other window where it's safe to do so. So for Color Hex, I don't disagree with the Barrage at all. Now Boston, though, they have less tools to work with. Though the self-destruct could be devastating, Atlanta Reign with a lot less mobility to work with.
The Reign, though, they do have 4 ults ready to go. Boofin, the key part here. The Reign, not wasting a lot of time. Already dropping the Supercharger. Moving back onto the point. Trying to emphasize heavy poke damage. Boofin, the bomb, up, over. Does not get anyone on Atlanta. Meanwhile, Edison was able to get to the back. The Death Blossom, get on the Myungbong. And the Reign, again, starting to pick Boston apart. Edison, right place, right time.
Love it from Edison. Just commit the solo Death Blossom, get rid of that Ana. The Mercy has to stay with the Pharah constantly due to the pressure that Hawk and Dogman are able to put on together. So without the Ana, the tanks from Boston Uprising just immediately crumble.
Boston, it just feels like Jake, they've had a real tough time hanging on to any form of control.
Diva just staying off the ground entirely here. Hawk flexing his muscles, really staying in that Pharah's face, not giving her any space.
You gotta think Hawk's gonna give out an anti-air bomb here. Difficult to pull off, but oh so good.
I just want to see him save this ult, use it to remake, use it to apply, put your body on the line, and use it as almost a self-heal ability.
Well, he's putting a lot of pressure on the Pharah Mercy right now. Force up the Nano. Color Hex goes for the Nano, drops the barrage, takes out Hawk, but ends up falling at the same time. It's a pretty good trade for the Reign, I'd say, and Edison making it a lot better on the ground.
Wizard as well on the fusion, just so much aggression. Edison does drop, but Masa's cleaning up on point, and with 98 control, Masa's rally should be unstoppable here.
Uprising, no! Jerry can't even get off the EMP, take it down mid-setup. I don't think the EMP really would have changed the fight either way. It was a little bit late for an attempt. Erster walking on over, overtime starting to tick down. Color Hex can't even get to the point. And the Reign making it an easy and quick map 1.
No hit scan necessary. The Reign just playing one comp, and a comp, to be fair, that we haven't seen too much success with so far. This is actually a consistent theme for the Atlanta Reign so far this season. They play comps that other teams aren't running, that other teams don't believe in, but they make them work. They're comfortable playing to their strengths, and that might be a real asset going long-term into this hero pool meta. You want a team that's confident in any strategy.
So the Uprising, it's a tough start. Do they have anything left in the tank to deal with this oppressive Atlanta roster? We're going to find out.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Boston, of course, has some of the very best sports fans in the entire world. As you know it, my family's all from Boston. See the Boston Uprising inaugural home match weekend live, April 25th to 26th. Visit uprising.overwatchleague.com to get your tickets.
The question now is, can Boston turn around in this series right here? I mean, that was a veritable drubbing on map 1. Strategically, it felt like Boston made a great adaptation. Oh, you know, you're not going to run any hit scan DPS. You're not going to run the 76 or the Sombra or the Tracer. Okay, let's bring out the Pharah. But it's just Hawk and Dogman working together to completely stifle that. And if it only takes an Ana and a D.Va to shut down your Pharah play, then is it even justifiable in the first place?
It was just so tough. I mean, in general, the Boston Uprising, they just got outplayed, Jake, in every facet of the game. They were getting outpoked. They were having worse ultimate usage. I mean, pick a facet of Overwatch where you want to put a stat to it. I guarantee you that Boston was behind.
Strategically, it seems like Atlanta's coming out on top, although as we go into our next map, our escort map type on Havana should be a very different map here. You know, a huge change of pace. Both teams gonna have to adapt. This is not that close range, tight corridors map. I don't want to see the Reapers come out. I want to see those range damage dealers, or perhaps a dive comp, or both at the same time. That's what you need to survive on Havana.
You know, one name we didn't say a whole lot in the last map was Jerry. Jerry was on the Sombra, Jake, but there wasn't really much of an impact.
You know, I think it's just against the Orisa and the Ana and the Brig, these heroes are so great at shutting down Sombra. The risk of a stun and a pickoff can really just scare you off so many hack plays.
Of course, the reason why Jerry perhaps was on different heroes is that with the hero pool, you can't play signature heroes this week, so it's up to Jerry to adapt.
Once again, Movement electing to pick the Sigma over the D.Va. This is what I would call a very off-meta choice. A lot less mobility to chase down frags, but a lot of poke damage coming out from Boston Uprising. We'll see if they're able to make it work without the defense matrix.
Got the Hanzo battle between Edison and Jerry. Jerry right now freelancing with Muffin. Muffin, one of the few players really to run the Sigma right now in the Overwatch League. Not the most popular hero.
Frankly, I can't agree with this choice. It's just too hard to get those halt combos when Hawk is so good at eating the halt. You're not really getting the first step, and nice halt combo does come in, but it's onto the Mei. She just shuts it off easily.
The Uprising are getting pummeled in the poke game right now. The Immortality Field keeping them alive, but you look at the health bars, it doesn't tell a pretty tale right now for the Uprising. Infusions ends up getting picked off. Jerry, a little bit of a counterattack, but I think too much damage has been done.
Yeah, Jerry does strike back, but now it's Hawk with the mobility, turning it around, picking him off. There might be a moment here for the Boston Uprising to get a bit of an advantage close to their own spawn here.
That was a really nice outplay by Muffin. Erster just thought that Muffin was going to be an easy takedown, and was not the case at all. Sigma's still a hero you should respect, even if he's not as strong as some of the other options. Gator in danger. Gator getting poked real low, just barely able to get away.
It's going to be tough. Atlanta Reign, they're going to have to find their way back in, maybe behind Hawk's defense matrix. Jerry with this Dragon Strike wants to shut it down before it begins.
Put the Dragon right down Broad Street, and it's good! Hawk taken down immediately. Jerry on a roll, finds Gator. And Jerry right now with the Hanzo, making some room here for the Uprising, and Jerry can't be stopped! Another 2 for Jerry, make it 3!
The inverse caster curse coming here from Jerry. We said we weren't saying his name too much last map. Well, that's changing in a hurry. Jerry, great work on the Hanzo.
It's Jerry's world, we're just living in it. What I'm finding out right now.
This high ground position is so crucial on second point. The Hanzo that controls this position is going to have free reign to plant those Sonics, hunt the heads of the opposing team. So expect to see a heavy battle coming in for this high ground position. Although I would think Atlanta Reign might have the edge with Hawk on the Diva, able to fly up and knock Jerry back.
At some point, they just have to isolate the threat. And the threat is Jerry, given the last round. I think you're completely right. Oh, again! Finds Erster! You gotta respect this man.
Atlanta playing so scared in the corner. It's going to cost their tanks their lives. Hawk as well, stunned. D-Mac finish off. Jerry returns to his roost here on the high ground. Atlanta, that wasn't much of a contest at all. And now coming in for the final fight on second point. Muffin's making this Sigma work, and he still has his ultimate to work with. Could be trying to close out the point with a potential pickup.
Atlanta just casually walks on and goes, we'd like to look at point B. And Jerry just looks at them and says, nah, actually not happening.
Jerry as well with a Dragon Strike can be very hard to deal with when you have to come through these chokes. That's a nice Maywall from Color Hex, slowing down the advance from Atlanta.
The wall is up, Atlanta looking for a way in. Jerry, the Dragon Strike, locked and loaded in the back, under pressure from Hawk. Hawk's trying to deal with the threat. That's what they should be doing, but Jerry finds another sight line. Uprising able to heal up fusions. Here comes the Dragon Strike. Right direct line to payload. They're already down Young Bung, so it's gonna be a tough ask. Atlanta still in good health. Dogman though down. Rain rotating around, looking for the rock, does not hit. Edison now room to work with. We got some Hanzo action on the other side.
It takes a Sigma ult to bring down Dogman, but Masa dodges it, stays alive, and this BAP is so good at being a solo main support. If your other support falls, there's no other hero I think you'd rather have than a Batiste.
Masa definitely making the difference there after the early pickoff onto Dogman. And we're gonna get a little bit of a replay of what just happened there, where Edison going to work.
Someone had to stop Jerry. Someone had to start picking off. Oh, that's a great opening on the Color Hex. So sharp on a movement.
Hanzo looking to be a bigger and bigger impact here on this day in Washington, D.C. Edison to the back. Dragon Strike ready. Immortality Field perhaps going to save Hawk. Hawk was getting real low. Now getting healed up. Nice stuff by Masa. The Uprising approach once more.
Both teams valuing this flank. It looks like Boston's going to have control of the high ground for now, but they're coming out into such tremendous poke from the side of the Atlanta Reign.
Well, speaking of poke damage, they got the supercharger down. Uprising using that. The Reign respecting it, holding back. They dropped the Dragon though. Answered by the amplification matrix on the other side. Edison couldn't get anything going, but Hawk, the bomb to the back. Both teams starting to trade Color Hex. Gonna make things frosty. The Blizzard in the middle, but Hawk has done so much damage to the back line. I don't know if the Blizzard's gonna be enough. Hawk on one side, Muffin on the other. The Reign still hanging on.
Hawk trying to fight his way somehow back into this. Does get desuited, but still fighting. His Mei is also in the fray with him. Oh, Hawk on the edge of life. Gonna get to this pack. If he can resuit, that should mean Atlanta makes the hold.
What a fantastic sequence by Hawk there. Just one elimination after the other. Nothing too crazy. Got into the back line. Not a threat that Boston really should have ignored.
That's exactly what you need to do on D.Va. Be just as much of a threat as you possibly can, but don't overextend, don't lose your life. You want to get D-mech'd, but then still survive. That's an ideal situation, although Hawk not in his mech just yet, and Edison forced to switch to the Tracer. This should mean a major poke advantage for the side of the Boston Uprising, but the Atlanta Reign will have the opportunity to pick off backliners.
Also could be distracting to the Uprising. Edison might be in on the flank already, just being a nuisance in the back, something that has to be checked. Meanwhile, front line of the Reign still very, very strong. Fusion's very, very low. Barely able to get out of the line of fire. Dogman those down. Edison though finds Mountain Bung. Dragon Strike in from Jerry. Trying to make a little bit of room, but it's Hawk again. Getting in on the key eliminations. And the front line for the Reign is looking so solid.
Both Zens traded, but that ends up favoring the Atlanta Reign. Running this D.Va, they want to trade players down, make the fight scrappier, more chaotic. The Sigma Orisa team, they need to keep everyone alive, maximize their shield trading ability. When they start losing players, everything falls apart.
Last opportunity coming up for the Uprising. They have been completely gummed up here on point B. The Reign, aided by Hawk, just holding them back. Now here comes movement. The Flux ready. Big reason to play like Edison though to the back. Goes for the Pulse Bomb, does not get the elimination. Mortality Field keeping it alive, but Hawk, guess what? He's not done. Heals a fusion, drops a self-destruct. 2 already down. Jerry will not be the hero this time. And the Raid making it look easy. Boston can't stay on the point.
Momentum was building for Boston early in the round, but it just falls apart. One lost team fight, and it feels like they can never get back in control. Hawk and Edison constantly assaulting the backline. Even though, in that instance, they're not able to get the pickoffs, they force that Immortality Field to keep their Zen alive through the Pulse Bomb. They force everyone's attention, all the damage dealers. They're all looking at a Tracer and a D.Va, and that's exactly where the Tracer and the D.Va want to find themselves.
I think Boston too, you have to look at Boston just academically here and go, who's going to be making the plays for them? Jerry had a moment where he was able to break things through, but the problem is when it's just one player that's doing all your crazy stuff, eventually the other team's just going to go out of their way to isolate them and go, all right, what else you got?
Yeah, the problem is with D.Va in the game and Hawk uncontested, there's no other D.Va. You know, of course, Mufin's going to have the advantage poking out in the off-tank war, but when Hawk just hunts down Jerry time after time after time, yeah, I mean, Jerry's surviving, but he's staying exactly with his team right where the Zen is. There's no surprises. You know, when he's playing that high ground, he's able to get the pickoffs, you know, sure, but when Hawk's camping the high ground defensively, Jerry's walking in, there's no chance for him to actually climb up there and challenge a D.Va. It's just not a fight he can win, so, you know, strategically, I feel like this D.Va is just really working out for the Atlanta Reign. We see why so many teams have kept the D.Va as part of every strategy.
I think Hawk right now has been by far the biggest barrier to the Uprising. And something that, frankly, I just don't think they've been putting enough focus fire onto him. It seems like Boston is worried about other things.
Well, you have to be. There's so much poke coming in from Edison, Erster, Masa, Dogman. Everyone on this squad brings that poke damage, and it's a threat you have to worry about. So, you know, Hawk is just not going to be first on your list of priorities with how mobile he is.
That takes a rock. Doesn't really matter too much. And already starting to apply pressure to the Uprising here in the front. Looking for him to drop the Matrix, cover the Reign as they move on forward, and already getting a decent bit of progress.
You know, the Sigma Orisa comp, they're the ones who want to be holding these corners. They're the ones who want to be forcing a fair shield trade. But in fact, is the Atlanta Reign actually winning in exactly that environment? Now it's the Boston Uprising's turn to make a flanking play, but Hawk's 1v2ing here.
Yeah, Hawk is just bullying, going, I'll take on 2 of your members at the same time. Not a problem for me. Now, drawing the ire of the Uprising, but while they're looking at Hawk, the payload continues to move forward and just continues to dive in and be a pest.
Hawk does get stunned, but the heals come out. This is getting Dogman a very fast charge on the Amplification Matrix. Jerry isolated, cut down.
Jerry just walks by Hawk and pays the price, completely swooped on. And Edison in on the side. The Uprising are just struggling to get anything done.
Boston Uprising, I mean, this is the impact of hero pools. They both make an adjustment, but they seem way overconfident in this Sigma pick. I don't think it's working out for them at all. If you're going to play the Sigma, you need to be winning these shield trades, winning in the static engagement. But in fact, you're just forced into a constant retreat. D.Va's just a stronger hero right now.
I think there has to be a point where, regardless of what you've practiced for some of these teams, you made a guess on what the meta was going to be, Boston. I think you're wrong. Time to swap.
Yeah, it can be hard to make that decision, especially with all the pressure Atlanta Reign is keeping on you. Boston, they do have a couple ults here. It's time to maybe win this fight right now. They have the chance to stabilize, but they're not going to get another one.
Oh, Edison takes a rock, but the support is there. Still in a fine spot. Dragons on both ends. Erster gets a little bit low, taken down by fusions. The Uprising desperately struggling to get a foothold here because, Jake, they've held point B for 4.5 minutes and Colorhex falls.
Oh, that pickoff couldn't be more impactful than May. That means there's no more threats on Hawk. They need to Sigma ult him, get him out of the suit, but he's got the self-destruct. He's just going to come right back in the suit.
Both teams going back and forth. Jerry and Edison making things happen. This would be a good time for Jerry to go wild, but does not. Edison shuts him down in over the top. And the Rain, they're less than a fight away here from ending the map.
These halts from Gator are just filthy. There's no Diva to stop him. Muffin and Jerry sitting on the high ground dealing the damage, but it's Gator who pulls them down to his level, and that's when the Atlanta Rain strike, swarming all around them.
Boston, they're not going to have any time for great positioning here. They have to go to Muffin for a little bit of delay and hope, pray that Colorhex gets a good Blizzard. Urster uses Blizzard on the high ground, doesn't really get too much from the start of it. Now Colorhex, his turn to bring the cold onto the point. But it won't be enough. Moss on the Transcendence, keeping Dismount Atlanta alive. Not enough to save Versker, but Edison still certainly in there. The rest of Atlanta looking good. The Uprising just getting poked, prodded, taken on down. And the Rain just about here for what is a very, very swift Havana.
Composition making all the difference there. Hawk essentially uncontested, flying around the map, showing just how dangerous he can be if you don't have another Diva to counter him.
Hawk, just a continual presence, but Jake, I think you said it best. So many players on this Rain team are a threat, and the Uprising are finding themselves outclassed. Will they be able to take some time and just get together, revive themselves, and go for the first sweep? Let's find out.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Rank up with America's first and only nationwide 5G network. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Well, the Uprising will not be rising up the standings if the Atlanta Rain keep on rolling. Thanks for the chuckle, Costa. I really appreciate it. This is our game break presented by Pringles Wavy. My name is Zoe and I'm joined by Sideshow and Costa, who has as bad a humor as I do. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I'm always here to help you out and laugh at the terrible puns they make you say.
So. Thank you. Yeah, that one was actually not.
You got to giggle though.
Personally.
You got to giggle at a Boston game.
You got to giggle.
You know, because otherwise, what else do you have?
Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry. Actually, you do still have Jerry.
We do still have Jerry, and that will always be a positive thing to talk about. But yeah, let's take a look at this first two maps, or these first two maps rather. It was rather dominant from the Atlanta Rain. Edison had a phenomenal first showing. He here on stage. Pretty much what you guys expected. It is what everyone hoped for. And interestingly enough, we didn't really see any attempts on dive coming out from Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, that surprised me, actually. I mean, maybe it shouldn't have, because Atlanta, even when they were playing in that first match where they played against Toronto, liked this style where they're playing the May Torbjorn or the May Reaper and playing something quite bunkery, which is a little strange, honestly, when you have Ursa and Edison, but Edison was still able to have such a huge impact on the Reaper.
And I think they're showing that it really works, especially with that May Reaper, and they're just sort of playing very bunkery. Once they get position on the map, they just seem to never lose control of it, and you saw that on the first map with the control. I would actually like to see them play the dive, because when we did see them play the little bits of it last weekend, we weren't...
Kind of sucked.
I was going to be nicer, but yeah, it kind of sucked. So I would actually really like to see them play the Tracer Sombra with Edison and Ursa. I don't think we'll see it against Boston. They seem to be just rolling.
Why not? Play with your food a little bit.
No, I actually think they're trolling. In that, in the second map, Massar played the Baptiste and Dogman was playing the Zen. And then on offense, they just switched.
Yeah.
So we had Massar on the Zen, and then we had Dogman on the Baptiste. I don't know if they're just trolling.
The Atlanta Reign coaches have been preaching flexibility for a while, right? And it's, you know, it's the era of hero pools. You've got to be able to switch. So Massa's got to be able to play Zen as well, all right? Custer, stop giving them flack for this.
You don't switch the same characters between the same two players. But this map was just almost even more dominant. We didn't really see much resistance other than Jerry on the Hanzo on the first point.
He had some good moments.
Yeah, but honestly, I've just been super impressed with Edison this entire series. We've been preaching for him. He played Tracer, he played Reaper, he played Hanzo. His Hanzo, I don't know how they always hit headshots on Hanzo. When I do it and I shoot in their general direction, I miss every time.
Yeah. You're really good at catching them, right?
I catch arrows like nothing, but when they shoot it, it just hits them every time. I don't
know. The opposing team is always having the better Hanzos.
It's crazy.
Very much related to that. It's weird. Guys, it is time for Crunch Time, presented by Pringles Wavy. And there's something specific we want to talk about a little bit. Specifically, moving on that Sigma and Hawk, just, you know, kind of taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I was really harsh on Hawk last week because he didn't really play a very good game on the Diva, but he's been really good in this match so far. But we also have Muffin on the Sigma, and this is something they've gone to here and there that I just don't agree with. I haven't really been impressed. I think Sigma is just a worse off-tank pretty much across the board, doesn't have mobility, the double shield doesn't really gain any effectiveness. So I'd really like to question why Boston is going towards this Sigma when you have a Diva that's just significantly better.
It is really weird, actually, because it's not just Boston. If it was just Boston, you'd be able to say, all right, maybe that's something that Muffin's more comfortable with, whatever. But
Muffin.
Muffin, that's his name. Muffin. All right. Okay.
Did I say Muffin as well?
I don't know. It's adorable, really, isn't it? It's like a little muffin man. Yeah, and he is a cute little player as well. Gets all excited at the end of matches. Hello, we're over here now. But I think
camera switch.
Yeah, I think the Sigma is something that has been pervasive throughout a bunch of different teams, and it's making me question what I know about Overwatch. It doesn't seem to make sense.
Has anyone been successful though? I don't think I've seen a single team play Sigma and be successful. We saw someone tried to play it I can't remember the teams, and then they just got countered by Farah. I think it was against Washington Justice. Stratus just goes Farah and you just lose.
Yeah.
Diva has so much more control and just everything better. I can't understand why you would play it.
It must have been working in scrims, though, for some teams for it to actually get playtime on the stage.
It's not like Sigma's just awful, right? He is a good character and he can get value, but I think it's just a lot harder to get that value.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but if it is, as you said initially, Sideshow, it might be a bit of a comfort pick for them, then, you know, it's worth a try if that is the only thing you have left in your repertoire. Then might as well at least lose some comfort picks.
Yeah, they've got to make some kind of adaptations here, some changes. And I think that the way that they're approaching it is somewhat reasonable. See if you can beat them in the bunker v bunker, because Boston hasn't showcased any kind of dive. I just want to see Atlanta Reign play dive coming up.
Yeah,
honestly, just give me the Ursa Edison dive. Just to flex on your opponents. Give me something so that I know
even
you're
if
good.
it still sucks, you can give Boston a map, then you go back to the bunker. Just sort of help us out a little bit.
I really recommend to not do any of what I just said, because, you know, map wins are important also, dear Costa. So you don't really just want to toss them out. Fine.
Being responsible.
Sorry. Sorry, someone had to. We're heading on to Eichenwalde next. What do you expect to come out from Boston? Can they make a change? Any surprises they can throw at them? Maybe have color hex on that Farah when they're attacked, putting on some pressure?
Yeah, I think that might be the key, because the Farah strategically does make sense if your opponent's playing May Reaper, and that is a direction that they can go to. Now, it didn't really work on Havana. They didn't get that much done. But Havana, you can only really run it on point A, and they did manage to capture point A. Eichenwalde, you can run it on point A and on point B, so maybe they can get a little bit more going there.
Get 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points. Nice. Well, 2 points can win you a game as long as you stop the opponent from getting 2 points as well. So Boston, that's your strat.
Make it 1, make it 2, maybe even 3. We'll see what's going to happen in the game as we're getting ready to send it back over to DC. And stick around, because after the match, we'll be here right on this very desk doing the hero pool draw for week number 6 on the Watchpoint Post Show. So we see you then.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor.
We are back after the half and what has been a very, very decisive match here so far, where the Uprising really struggling to get anything going right now up against the Atlanta Reign, who are looking every bit to be the competitor we thought they would be.
Boss has been placing so much confidence in the Sigma, and I just feel like it's fallen flat, leaving Hawk free to, assert his reign of terror over the battlefield, flying absolutely wherever he wants. The Halt Rock combo is so dominant, except when the D.Va's there, she just eats the Halt. You miss your first half of the combo, and it's on the Sigma to hit a very, very difficult stun with a very long windup that doesn't even always secure kills.
Well, you said it in the interim here. We were just like, you know what's going on right now? Hawk is playing really well. Like, he truly is. But at the same point, Boston is doing everything to make a D.Va look incredible. It's like they got a check down. Kara's like, all right, we're going to play Sigma, a hero that matches up worse against D.Va, and we're going to do everything possible to just make Hawk look like the most incredible player of all time. And look, Hawk's playing well, but Boston is just getting ruined by D.Va right now.
Yeah, it feels like Jerry is the only real bright spot, and that's just because he's coming up with massive pickoffs, headshots, that are essentially unsupported. I mean, yeah, he's working with his team, but it's on Jerry to actually connect to the head and find those pickoffs. But it just hasn't been enough to get any map wins.
Well, Eichenwalde is where we're heading. And I gotta say, as of right now, very likely to be the final map in the series, unless Boston, in the halftime, was able to change something up readily.
And the thing is, for me, the strategic element of it, it's not a skill question. We know Muffin can play D.Va. We know he's strong and confident on this hero, so why force him onto this Sigma off meta strategy? Great synergy, by the way, by Hawk and Gator there, stepping off the map at almost exactly the same moment. You gotta respect that.
Honestly, I respect a lot about Hawk and Gator when it comes to these sorts of things, because at the end of the day, they're trolls. They embrace it, they love it, and they can throw in a little bit of BM, a little bit of craziness. They always will.
Once again, the Atlanta Reign coming with the same comp that's dominated for them so far. This time, Edison on the Hanzo. But this Ana Brig setup has worked really well with the Orisa so far. That's a ton of heals you're able to pump into the D.Va should the enemy field a Pharah. But you still have the potential to brawl with the help of this Brigitte.
So the Uprising already eating a bio nade, a set nade by Dogman. Always fun to see. Colorhex into the air, going to be looking to apply some serious Pharah pressure.
I like this route the Color Hex is taking, getting around behind the enemy team, forcing them to split their focus, but I think Hawk will be very soon coming for a bit of air-to-air combat.
Yep. Hawk sees what's going on right now, but so far they haven't seen Color Hex as that big of a threat. They're going the timeless strategy of ignore the Pharah, but no, Hawk's had enough. Now going to start moving over and let the dance begin.
Still, Color Hex is respecting this D.Va so much, he can't get in close range, he can't actually finish any kills, it's all spam here.
Oh, the problem for the Uprising, though, they're not moving in. They're waiting for Color Hex to do something significant, and Hawk's been just denying that a bit here while Color Hex is in a good spot. Now Color Hex takes a slightly less good spot. The poke has been a little bit rough. Gets some damage on the Gator. The Gator healed right back up.
Edison picks off Fusions, the advantage in the front line with that May coming to bear. Now Hawk coming in, wants to take the combo on all by himself.
Oh, no! Why? Please tell me that's going to be a swap.
Why'd you gotta do it to him like that, Hawk? And Erster as well with the big Oz.
Oh, no. And now you go to the Sigma?
No movement, please, no.
Oh, boy.
I mean, maybe there's some logic now to the Sigma because you've already got the Pharah and the Hanzo, you've got a ton of spam damage, but now you have no D.Va and Erster. He's set up in the flank with a Blizzard. This fight could be over before it begins.
Jake, how does this swap make anything better?
It gives you a little bit more poke potential, and now you're frozen.
Well, and Edison's taking out Jerry and Myung Bung, and he can do whatever he wants because there's no one dealing with them. 3 for Edison. Oh, this is gonna get worse before it gets better.
Now Color Hex and Halo grouped in the back line, but Hawk is hunting. Halo's HP dropping low. They gotta run for the hills. D.Va with the support of constant heals on Dogman. There's just no stopping him. This Fire Mercy gets no value.
Edison, well, when you don't have to worry about a D.Va and your team is just getting into the front line, you can do whatever you want. It's your world.
This is just cleanup from Edison. I mean, he's just swarming over with the help of his whole team.
So the Uprising down to a minute 37 of what has been a tortured attack here thus far. The Reyna gets popped, they're gonna throw up the Nano on the Hawk again, and no. We just saw this movie. This time, slightly different ending. It's Nano v Nano, so Hawk not quite getting the free ride, and Hawk gonna get D-back, has to drop himself, like, no, Color Hex can't get away. Edison was waiting. Hawk, though, does get back into the mech, and Color Hex is up. Freedom for Color Hex.
Jerry's taking down Hawk before he can get back in the suit. That's such a crucial pickoff. Just as you said, now Color Hex with the barrage wants to open this up, wants to find some crucial kills. Rain charging forward, but they get completely stymied.
And he has a window here. He slept, but I'll just let him save his barrage. It actually works out for the Uprising. I do like the idea of the Nano for Nano.
Yeah, it works out there for Boston, but you know, to be honest, I think if Hawk had survived his remake there, that fight could have been very, very different. So Boston, they can't be feeling too confident just yet, although uncontested Sigma ult from Mufin should give them a good fight win here, but now Edison on the Tracer, gonna split up Halo's attention on the Mercy. Does he heal his Ana supporting the backline, or does he stay on Color Hex?
And it's a much bigger focus on the ground war coming out here for the Reign, and they just go to Hawk. It's like, Hawk, we trust you to take some 1-on-2s. We'll give you a little bit of support. Hawk versus the Pharah Mercy, and then the rest of the Reign versus the Uprising. That's what we're watching. Here comes Brajo to the back, takes down Edison immediately. A nice angle for Color Hex. But it's only one.
Yeah, you barrage, but you kill a Tracer. I mean, this is the fastest respawn in the game. He's going to be right back in. Freeze comes in, picks up Mufin and Jerry. So Erster putting in work on the May, maybe hunting for even more here.
Well, Color Hex is swapped. The era of Pharah is over. And Uprising looking for a different look with about 2 minutes and 24 seconds left on the clock.
Not a second too soon for me. I feel like the Pharah really just didn't get much for Boston. Uprising now with the Brig, they should have a little bit of potential to brawl, but Masa has a major rally advantage. When that ult comes online, I expect to see them rushing in.
Jerry right now is a little bit quiet, drops Dragon. Looking for it, just eats Masa right up. Decent opening for the Uprising. Edison, though, returning the fire. Heavy pressure with the Nano, survives the Brigitte. Working around, Tracer v Tracer now, Color Hex. The tougher spot, Burns rewind. Edison is down to 4 HP, barely healed in time.
Nano's traded, but it's Atlanta Reign still holding strong on card, still challenging, not giving up position just yet. So the clock ticks down, even though Boston Uprising, they should be closing out this fight. Boston's going to commit the rally.
Nice opening from Jerry, but the pulse pump medicine, not quite enough to finish off Fusions. Able to fortify that one away. Now Edison throwing a little bit back, but hey, supercharger up for Atlanta. They're going to try and maintain the ground, and Edison going in on the flank again. Heavy pressure onto the Ana.
5v6 for the Atlanta Reign. They are committing, but not working out so far. Still, the clock is running down throughout this whole engagement.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one upside here for Atlanta. Even if they lose this fight, they kept it going for such a long time that the Uprising are down to their final minute.
And as well, the last surviving members of the Reign, they're able to get out of this fight, not paying with their lives, not getting staggered. So they're going to have a very comfortable contest on the bridge. No forward ground, able to be held by the Boston Uprising.
The Reign ready to head back out. Erster ready to lower the temperature a little bit once they do. The Uprising for now, focusing on the payload and just Halo off over there.
Still, I think the high ground should be a place for the Atlanta Reign to win the fight. Now, the Nano again onto Edison. They're confident in his Tracer abilities.
Nano on the Edison, and now just moving on forward. Dante, though, caught. Jerry not paying attention to this part of the fight. Instead, looking at the supports, and the Uprising actually able to muscle out a pretty decent advantage. Now the Dragon Strike's ready.
Everything onto Fusions, keeping him alive. Now with the Supercharger, amplifying all the damage from Boston.
Edison is down. The Uprising starting to gain some steam. And the Reign falling apart here on point B. The Uprising starting to make it work here, Jake, off the swaps.
Yeah, Sigma is working out here. I'd like to see Edison potentially swap back to a hero that offers a little more constant damage, put the pressure on this Sigma. So far, his shield hasn't been breaking. Erster is going to switch over to the Junkrat. An interesting choice here, very dominant on this third-point defense.
I don't know what that means, Jake. We might have to be ready to rate some tires. It's been a while.
I hope so, but backs against the wall for the Atlanta Reign. Now I like this comp a lot. The Hanzo Junkrat, that's an incredible amount of shield pressure. Hawk eats the dragon.
Hawk just again pressuring Jerry. You gotta be close to eat the dragon. And Hawk all about just bullying Jerry over the course of this match and making so much room in Atlanta, just flooding on through.
Some hungry Hawks here as Erster picks up 3.
Oh, no.
A nice back cap from Color Hex. It doesn't really matter too much though. I mean, he pressures card, but it's gonna stall his death for a long time. Gets a little bit more progress, but I don't think that's gonna make the difference at the end of the day. Now, Boston Uprising, they have to somehow cross this bridge into arguably one of the most spam you can deliver in a composition.
You're Junkrat right now. Where do you place your trap? What are you feeling?
I'm trying inside the door, right on the low ground, just as you come through the door. No one checks under the rubble usually.
Yeah, no, it's a bunch of rubble. Junkrat trap just fits right in.
Erster though, focusing on the spam, trying to catch a rotation, potentially a Tracer slipping through, but now Boston is on that Hanzo Mace. So they have a lot of damage of their own.
Erster laying the damage from the back. Definitely something that's gonna not agree with the shields. Oh no! Halt Hook gone! Or Halt Rock rather. Nice combo for the Uprising. And now an opportunity here. Jerry working on the outskirts, close to a dragon. Poking on in the Reign. They drop the Supercharger, Jake, but they have to give up a little bit of room.
Maywall doing so much here, separates the Supercharger from the team. They're not able to get much value on it. Hawk, though, using that self-destruct.
Raw bomb to the back. The Uprising withstand. The Mortality Field key in that one. But does get it off. Cooldown. Masa caught. Erster back the other way. Here comes the tire. Where is it going to be? Where's it going to drop?
Broken. Nice rock from movement.
Tire does not do much at all. Hawk, though, still in the fight. Takes down 2. And the Reign pushing the Uprising off the payload bit by bit. Hawk with 5 at the very end.
Like we've been saying, you leave Hawk uncontested, you let him fly around with nobody to chase him. D.Va's mobility is completely insane this patch, and Hawk is making it look easy against the Boston Uprising.
So, a few signs of life for the Uprising, able to get into the castle, but are they going to be able to do more? Let's take a look after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
gotta say, Paul and the Atlanta Reign, they know how to put on a show. I know I am very much looking forward to their homestand later on in the year. Great city, great fans. March 21st and 22nd. Visit AtlantaReign.com to get your tickets, and not one out of one miss.
And the performance so far in this match, just unquestionable. Gator and Hawk on this tank line. For me, that's the brightest spot. I expected Edison and Erster to be stealing the spotlight, and certainly they're playing well. They're doing what they need to be doing, but it's Gator and especially Hawk as well, shutting down all of these weird strategies from the Boston Uprising. They're trying to make the Sigma work, trying to make the Pharah work, but it's Hawk always in their face, always shutting them down.
I mean, Hawk right now is just such a solid player that he's saying to the entire Uprising, no, you can't run these compositions. I'm good enough to just shut it down. And for the Uprising, it wasn't until some swaps later on that brought things a little bit closer to normalcy that they finally got a degree of success.
The Uprising, they have been a team that's known to fearlessly play compositions that no other team will touch. You know, that can be a strength, it can also be a weakness.
Well, don't forget, right after this match, which could be after this map, the Watchpoint post show begins. And that's where we'll get to see what the hero pool will be for week 6. Last week, a lot of drama, of course, in the picks. It was an exciting setup. People thought they would get banned or get taken out of the pool. Wasn't quite the case. And now, who knows what's going to be this week?
I mean, I think if anything, this week proves that there's no such thing as a bad rotation. It's just exciting to see more of the heroes that Overwatch has to offer actually getting playtime.
So we're back in it. It's going to be the Reign here on the attack, and they don't have very far to go here, Jake. Just a little bit into point C.
Yeah, it's still very doable to make a hold here for Boston Uprising. Edison, odd decision in my opinion to go to the Reaper, signaling an aggressive rush here for the Atlanta Reign. Hawk's going to have his work cut out for him. He's going to have to suppress Color Hex for a very long time.
Right now, the Reign looking to enable the Sombra. Dogman, though, down immediately. I think took a little bit of Sigma poke there, maybe a rock. And it's definitely going to delay the Reign a bit here. Not their ideal opening.
I'm a bit confused, honestly, by why Edison's choosing the Reaper here. He's got no Lucio on his team. It's going to be a bit of a struggle for him to actually find the backline, although he is in the flank now. It looks like Muffin knows exactly where he is, going hunting. If Edison gets poked out now, that's a major delay for Atlanta Reign.
Edison, not looking particularly healthy. Trying to get over and away, and does get to some healing. Now he's good to go once more.
And actually, that distraction does get Atlanta Reign very close to the point through the choke for free.
And on the Hawk, and oh boy, selling the Pharah Mercy. Did not like the last time around. Already almost selling the Mercy, so close to finishing it off. And Hawk's not done yet, and it's Erster able to get the finish at the end. Oh, look at the Matrix from below. Really nice stuff.
Yeah, people saying McCree's the counter to Pharah. Well, say hello to Hawk on the off tank, absolutely dominating movement. Needs to find something, but Hawk once again in the back line. Takes out the auto, takes out the Sigma. This guy can't be stopped.
Hawk is unstoppable, and a lot of it is the Uprising's fault. What is their plan here? Pharah, just ignore the Diva. We're just gonna let the Diva chase you the entire time. No, like, please. Put some focus onto this Diva because Hawk is destroying you.
What can Halo possibly do in that situation? There's a Nano Diva flying in. I mean, Halo did a great job juking away, staying out of LOS, but you're running away from a Nano Diva with a 3-second booster and a Sombra who sees you through the walls. I mean, there's just no escaping that.
It's brutal is what we're seeing right now, and I don't think it gets any better. The MP charged up for Erster. Erster to work his way around. Reign very healthy here on the point. And just raw damage on the Fusion. Where's the support for Fusion? He was left alone.
He drops down. I mean, somebody's got to come contest Cart. Muffin commits the Gravitic Flux there, but just gets a D-suit, and Hawk, freely protected by his team, is going to have an easy time spamming and getting that suit back.
It's been tough. The Uprising are out of sorts right now. Early pickoffs abound. Hawk doing whatever he wants, and just been tough.
And this time now, sure, Fusion's, you've got that damage amplifying bongo, but Erster with the EMP could just turn it off, make it irrelevant.
Erster waiting, EMP, and does turn it off. Goes on over, heavy pressure in from Erster. The Uprising forced back, all super low, and Edison is gonna finish off Fusions there. Oh no, 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 the sleep into the finish. Even Dogman getting in on the action. This has been brutal.
Everyone from the Atlanta Reign contributing here. Now Fusion's desperation pick onto the Winston, trying to touch cart, but he's got no ultimate at all. Hawk hunting down the Ana. Hawk, he just got in the backline. He's a DPS.
Yeah, Hawk is just doing whatever he wants right now. Part of that has been suppressing Jerry. Part of that is just taking down the entire team. Nano onto Tracer. Jerry trying to bring it back. Hawk, though, drops the bomb. And look at Dogman dueling in the back. Nearly takes down Color Hex, but buys enough time for the Reign to easily break into the castle gate.
Edison not finding the stick here. Erster onto the Junkrat, looking to close it out. I actually quite like this, given where the box of victory it is. Junkrat might struggle at the very end of point C, but in this close corridor around the corner, he's actually quite powerful, just outputting the damage. Boston switching back to the shield tank, but I think they're going to suffer against this Junkrat.
Supercharger down for the Reign. Erster onto Junkrat, closed in area. A lot of areas for the explosions to move on into, and Erster in over the top. Nearly got that one, and the pressure overwhelming. Fusion's already down, and the Reign just doing whatever they want to do. They take down the Uprising. They complete the sweep, 3-0.
This was just wrong. This felt horrible to watch.
It was unholy.
Hawk is just running through this team. Edison, Erster, picking whatever heroes they want to play, making it look easy. Backline constantly staying alive. I just can't say enough good things about the Atlanta Reign. Out-strategized, out-executed, everything going in their favor.
There was nothing that went wrong for the Reign in this series. They did whatever they wanted to do. They ran a composition that was immensely effective. Hawk, just the shining example of what a D.Va player should be if you're ever put into the situation. Raw suppression at all times.
And also, you know, a little cherry on top for me personally. Get to see the J Silly come right out. Love to see that Junkrat gameplay, especially Ikem on third. One of the classic points, most dominant geometry for Junkrat. And Erster making it look easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's clear here is that hero pools helped some teams. It did not help the Uprising, and the Uprising, they got to do some soul searching for how to adapt because, you know, rather than pulling a Houston Outlaws and getting a lot better, the Uprising just looked lost both days.
Yeah, we talked about them trying to regain their momentum, but it feels like this week gave them exactly the opposite, put them further away from the wins they were seeking.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's going to be a challenge for some teams to put things together. The teams that have depth, the teams that have a really good coaching roster, this is where they can excel. And for Boston, I think it's clear that it didn't really work out this week.
Yeah, I think the Sigma pick is just a bit ill-advised. I mean, Muffin's playing well on the hero, but he's just not getting anything done, not even close to compared with what Hawk's doing, dancing around the map, putting pressure wherever it's needed.
Well, of course, we got Mitch with an old favorite, Dogman. This interview could be spicy.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Dogman. He's lighter than he looks, so I'll give you the big tip. Hey, you guys had a great game there. You bring Edison in. You kind of teased it. How are you feeling about how he's sort of melded into the team so far?
I mean, pretty good. Like, for the most part, Baby Bay fits really well on our roster. Dre is insane. All of our DPS are so good. Mitch, I feel like your legs are giving on you.
No. I can squat you for days, bro. Don't worry about it.
All right, yeah, but Eddie's amazing. He's a really great player. All of our DPS are so, like, just amazing.
Hey, you guys, a bit of a struggle against Paris. People were probably not expecting you to drop that game. What happened last week? You don't want to dwell on it, but tell us what sort of went on with you guys.
I think a mix of things. Paris is really good. They had a good week against us, and, I mean, there's really no excuses. We just need to get better. And I think we're still getting better. Obviously, it's against Boston. And, you know, we can keep improving.
Hey, hero pools, you guys look like you're pretty well set up with all the DPS available. You think this is going to benefit you?
Yeah, I think hero pools benefit us, Mitch.
Thank you very much, Dogman. Thanks for your time. Back to you guys over the caster desk.
Well, that is definitely a Coca-Cola victory moment if I saw one, but you know, I've never had an interview leave me with more questions than answers that I just got from that. That was something.
Love the spice from Dogman. That's definitely something I've never seen before, no doubt about that. But what a series from the Atlanta Reign. I mean, we talked about the Boston maybe not running the best strategies all the time, but you know, it's not every team that can capitalize on that. Some teams, they might be lost playing against a strategy they haven't seen. They might slip up. But the Atlanta Reign looked like they just put the pressure on harder.
Well, the one person that put on the pressure, of course, it's our player of the match. It could be none other than Hawk. He was everywhere. He was suppressing Jerry. He was ruining the Far Mercy. What more do you want from your D.Va player?
This guy's flying through the back line, hunting down Mercies with ease. So consistent, so clean on this D.Va. I feel like you have to mirror match this guy with another D.Va. You have to have somebody who can trade with him on the flank because he's just running on your team. He's diving in. This play was perhaps the most brutal. You know, Colorhex thinks he's safe. He thinks Hawk's targeting the Mercy. And look at this burst. Oh my God.
Hawk just playing pristine defense there. Oh man, so many things went wrong for Boston, but so many things at the same time going right for Hawk.
Look at that ratio for Hawk. The eliminations to versus Desperate 10. This guy's a monster, a freak of nature performance alongside his buddy Gator, both at tank line. Really such a solid foundation for the Atlanta Reign.
Of course, we did have quite a few good games here today. The last one, a decisive one for Atlanta, but the results, of course, in case you missed it, let's take a look at what we have here, where, of course, we started out the day with an absolutely crazy match in the Eternal versus the Fusion, the undefeated season over New York versus Justice. Justice put up a fight against New York. Truthfully, New York's still a little bit too strong. And, well, the Reign beat the Uprising.
That's a beatdown. You know, what else can you call it? It was a series, but it felt a lot quicker than that.
Yeah, it was fast. And honestly, well executed by Atlanta. What more can you say? But all in all, pretty decent day of Overwatch. And really, I mean, it goes to show that right now in the era of Hero Pools, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of fun stuff to see.
Especially, you just can't tell what teams are going to be dominant week to week. You know, it's even match to match, right? We saw Paris looking so weak yesterday, so lost strategically against Houston, playing this Orisa, Zarya stuff that didn't work whatsoever for them. But then they come in today with a totally fresh look, playing those dive strategies that other teams succeeded with, and they just look perfect. You know, clearly they didn't have much practice on them, but it didn't matter. Paris, so sharp on those heroes, they make it work.
Well, the matches here may be over, but the fun not over just yet. We got our Hero Pool draw coming up. It's in at Watch Point right after this.
Excited for the roster of this team.